What is true women's empowerment or feminine power? What does that really mean? That's the topic of today's video. Welcome, I'm Kim Marie, and I want to talk today about what true empowerment looks like. And of course, I'm speaking from the angle of the work that I do, which is really about women's empowerment. Now, we hear a lot about feminine power, the goddess energy, the priestess power, women's empowerment, the feminist movement, all of these kinds of things. And those are great. They're wonderful. And I want to introduce and explore the concept of what a truly empowered woman is able to do and be, okay? Sadly, we've had this culture, this past, this history that has said an empowered woman is supposed to be able to do what a man does, right? We're supposed to be able to, there was a commercial on television when I was growing up, this dates myself, that the women can bring home the bacon, fry it up in the pan, and never let you forget you're a man, right? This whole idea that we're supposed to be these great wives and friends and corporate leaders and mothers and housewives and all of these things. We're supposed to be able to do it all. And I know that is changing now for the younger generation. But there is still sort of this imprint and this idea, this false idea of what true empowerment is supposed to look like. And we want to consider the idea that the feminine in general is not about women and the masculine in general is not about men. It's not about gender, but it is about this idea of feminine qualities and masculine qualities, both of which we all have, regardless of gender or whether we're non-binary. This is about the qualities of masculine and feminine, archetypal qualities of what that looks like. Now, we have kind of been taught what culture, patriarchal dominance culture thinks the feminine should be or women should be. Stay in the background, don't speak too loud, don't be emotional, keep your voice down, don't be a bitch, don't be bossy, etc. Right? We've all heard it before. We've all seen it before. And what we're really looking at here is a suppression of the feminine and an unhealthy masculine that has become this patriarchal dominance culture. And that suppression of the feminine has been represented for millennia in various ways, including burning women at the stake for, the suspicion of being witches. All right. And I'm not here to talk about being a witch or being a priestess or any of that. I'm talking about qualities of the feminine. And I will do an entire video or multiple videos on the differences between masculine qualities and feminine qualities. But this video is more about feminine empowerment, women's empowerment, and specifically looking at that. So what I want to look at here is it is not empowering when we are out of balance. So true empowerment is about bringing the feminine into balance with the masculine, specifically the healthy feminine into balance with the healthy masculine, okay? And it's also about moving beyond a false sense of power or false sense of powerlessness. And I'm going to define what those mean in a minute. But that is really what true empowerment is about. We are not having power over, but we rather feel empowerment from within, and we're able to empower others. And in order to do that, we genuinely need to find balance. There has to be a sense of balance. And balance is not necessarily equal, okay? We could call it maybe equanimity, where there's a sense of attention to both, a sense of understanding of both, a sense of which end of the spectrum are we traveling, okay? So with true women's empowerment, what we really need to look at in order to bring forth that true femininity, the essence of the feminine, the capacity to receive and simply be rather than constantly doing and giving, the capacity to go to the depths, to meet the shadow side of life, to be okay with the unknown and the uncertainty and be in the dark and be okay with quiet and stillness and also have a broader awareness. These are all qualities of the feminine. The capacity to flow, right? These are all things that we want to bring more to the surface. And of course, we already have a culture that's very good at making things happen, getting things done, paying attention to discipline and focus and all of that kind of thing. There's a plethora of that. And sadly, myself included, as women, we've learned to adopt that and think that that is what it means to be an empowered woman. I can do it all. I can make it all happen. But we forget that the feminine needs to be there for true empowerment. We need to have that balance, okay? Now, how do we go about getting that balance? Well, we need to look at the concept of false power and false powerlessness. And let me tell you what each of those means. Now, false power has to do with kind of anything that we might do that has us feeling as though we are feeling powerful, but it's usually temporary. It's a moment. It's not sustainable. And often we find ourselves feeling empty, or maybe even on the side of jealousy, or feeling left out, or needy, or any of those kinds of things, because we've aligned ourselves with someone or something that makes us feel powerful in the moment, but it's not true power, right? Because often it's that quick fix. It's that magic pill. It's kind of like the high that we want, but we're not really looking at what true empowerment is, all right? Now, on the other side, false powerlessness is where we begin to feel a sense of, oh, there's nothing I can do. This is it. This is all there is. It's that victim-y space. It's that space of resignation or apathy. And so on the one hand, here we have this false powerlessness that has us feeling completely powerless, like that we have no capacity to be powerful, and there's no way out, and there's no way to do anything differently. And that's one way life, or the patriarchal dominance culture, can keep us very small and keep us disempowered. Or we can keep ourselves disempowered, by the way. We're the best at doing that. But then there's the false power side, where we're trying to align ourselves with the right friends, or the right house, or the right car, or the right, pocketbook, or who knows what else it is, right? And we try to put ourselves in those positions to feel good about ourselves, but we wonder why we still don't feel good about ourselves, all right? So this is what we have to be looking at. Now, how does that relate to feminine and masculine? Well, believe it or not, there are masculine and feminine qualities of both false power and false powerlessness, okay? The feminine shadow side of false power might be very manipulative and, jealous and those kinds of things. The masculine false power side is the dominance, the control. False powerlessness, the feminine, is going to feel very victim-y, very, kind of lost and feeling like they have nothing left. They're unable to receive. They're unable to notice when something beautiful is presented to them and offered to them. They're not able to ask for help, those kinds of things. And the masculine in false powerlessness, there'd be some similarities there, but there's also this kind of inability to create form and structure and have discipline and have those kinds of structures. I always say the river needs the riverbanks, right? The riverbanks are the masculine, the river is the feminine. We need both, right? And so if we're in false powerlessness on the masculine side, there's probably no riverbanks. Everything is just flooding and flowing all over the place, and there's nothing there. Or we're overflowing and flooding and nothing can happen, right? So we want to look at the balance, but it's about masculine and feminine on both sides. That's what true women's empowerment is about. It's about finding that beautiful balance. And by the way, I have a wonderful free download for you. It's in the description. It's my balance and empowerment cards. And there are 12 cards that you can print out and work with that talk about what false power and false powerlessness are in 12 domains of our life. Things like courage, and our capacity to have courage to move forward in our life, or confidence in our voice, those kinds of things, courage for so many different things in life, or the capacity to have compassion or patience or any of these, and what false power and false powerlessness looks like in each of those domains. When we can find that balance, that sense of equanimity, and we can notice and know when we're going to one extreme or another, that's finding the middle way. And the middle way is what I call the balance point of empowerment. That is where we find true women's empowerment, true feminine empowerment, where we're bringing the feminine that is so lacking. It's not about wiping out the masculine. It's about bringing the feminine up, letting it rise up, which means we have to look at our shadow side. We have to start noticing the things we haven't been willing to see before, or have just been ignorant about, and start admitting it and going to those depths. It is time for us to do this. It is time for us to step into that place of true empowerment, to know when we're being caught or trapped in false power and false powerlessness that causes us to stay out of that middle way, that keeps us in those spaces of victimhood or control and dominance, that kind of thing. We want to find that middle way that can truly honor all, and yet can stand in a place of stability and knowing and self-assuredness and self-confidence and self-awareness most of all. So I'd love to hear in the comments, where do you feel a sense of false power or false powerlessness based on what I've shared with you? And if you're still not sure, be sure to download those balance and empowerment cards, because they are so helpful. They're such a fantastic guide. You can meditate on a card each month. Such a powerful way to stay connected to this work and to checking in for yourself to know if you're truly balanced or not. And let me know in the comments, what do you see yourself? How do you see yourself exhibiting false power or false powerlessness? I'd love to know how that shows up for you. And if you have any other definitions of true empowerment for you, what does it mean for you to feel truly empowered? I just did a series in last couple of weeks called Finding Your Middle Way. You can find that in a playlist. You might want to check that out, because that offers a bunch of different examples of finding your middle way. Maybe it's finding confidence in your voice. Maybe it is having quality family time. Maybe it is about being wildly unapologetically you. These are all videos I did in a series of 12 videos that you can check out. All of it relates to this concept of finding true empowerment for yourself. So I look forward to hearing from you in the comments and sharing more in the next video.